Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Talk Shop. We would like to apologize for not being with you for the last couple of weeks. Real life intrudes, as it sometimes does, but we are back. Back and raring to keep on going. My name is DM Schmeier. I'm your host and producer, and with me, as always, is my partner in crime and game analysis, TJ Hafer.
I'm doing finger guns like we're committing a crime.
I'm doing jazz hands. So.
That's even more of a crime, so I think you actually beat me out there.
No. Jazz hands are Fosse. Spirit fingers are a crime.
Okay, gotcha.
Alrighty.
Fine distinction there.
Bachelor's in theater.
Yes.
Alrighty. So, before we dive into our best games in 1993 and let you know that we're going to be back up and running with the best games in 1994 coming on, Friday? Saturday?
Saturday, the 3rd of June will be when the article version will go up.
Right on.
Article version of the best games of 93 is currently up on Loresworn.com, so you can read along with us.
Do so. But we're going to start with, because some things are just worth making a tradition. We're classy. We're classy gentlemen. One might even say that we are classy as fuck.
Yeah, that was pretty well synchronized.
Yeah, considering
on the same how much alcohol we've already had.
Yeah, that was on the same wavelength.
Yeah, you know,
we were both kind of eager to do that. I think.
On the inside. I think so.
What are you currently drinking?
This is not classy at all. I was drinking rum and root beer, and then we ran out of root beer, so this is just rum and whatever soda we had left.
Rum and whatever soda we had left.
It's Bacardi Oak Heart rum, so it's slightly classier than
it's not
regular
bad.
old Bacardi. Oak Heart's not bad. I
find Oak Heart to be pleasant. Yeah, it's downright pleasant.
If I have to drink Bacardi, I'd like to be drinking Oak Heart. I still don't know if it quite qualifies as classy as fuck.
Anything we drink is automatically classed up just by its presence to our digestive tract.
We do class up, yeah.
When something enters my kidneys, it's classed up.
Yeah.
It's classed up. One of these days they'll bottle my urine and sell it as a skin restorative.
My liver has a waxed mustache and a fitted suit, like Italian, like real shit. So yeah.
My liver is like one of those like alien creatures from sci-fi that's like, kill me.
It's not so much a liver as it is a homunculus.
Yeah, it's camouflage. It's not good.
Yeah.
Right. I am drinking a mocha mudslide myself.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have one of those on deck for when I finish this.
Yeah, indeed. And it'll still be warm because man alive did I superheat this water.
By the time we get to number one, we're gonna be a couple sheets. Maybe not
I
3
believe
sheets.
The kids these days call it lit or crunk.
Lit af, as I've seen commonly.
Indeed.
Lit af. I don't know what the af part is. No,
indeed, it means as fuck.
It does.
Which moves us right back around.
We are classy af. Yeah,
yeah.
We're a couple of classy af holes.
This is yet another list though where we were in a rather remarkable amount of agreement.
Yeah,
really.
And it was the first year where like I finally got everything arranged into the order I wanted it to as far as best games go, and I was like, okay, the fact that I'm putting this particular game at number 3 tells me that we are in the thick of it now. Like we're at the point where it's getting tough to distinguish, you know. Like
You're applying tertiary criteria to break ties.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got there with this week's list
any of my top 3 could have easily been number 1 on a different day, I feel like, for 1993.
Yeah, this was a strong year.
Very strong.
In fact, it's fun. This is the year, to apply a metaphor, I think in 1993, video games went into puberty. Like, a lot of stuff started happening here that from 1994 on, it's just never the same. And I mean, it starts with my number 1 and your number 3. I mean, inarguably a top 10 most influential game ever.
I don't think I would dispute that. I don't think I'd
probably top 5, honestly.
Really, yeah. I mean, I think I would totally agree with it. It's a year where a major theme was taking games that had scored really highly on our previous lists and then somehow making them better in like comprehensively.
In another new format.
Yeah, definitely.
Without morphing the formula beyond recognition, though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I just dive right in. We start our honorable mentions though with we had a lot of agreement on our honorable mentions, so it's worth just discussing that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I like Master of Orion just because I'm
right.
I like that kind of strategy title.
It's not an honorable mention for me because it's going to be on my actual top 5, but we will get to that. Yeah,
we'll go there. You chose NBA Jam instead. Doesn't show up on my list.
And I think it was the first sports game that I really enjoyed, which is interesting because you can kind of see that DNA follow forward to like as recently as one of our I think it was it 2015 or 2016 that we both had NBA 2K on our top 10 list.
I think it was 2016 actually, the Spike Lee one.
Yeah, the Spike Lee one, the Spike Lee joint. Yeah. No, I loved playing NBA Jam. I think that was the first the first game that made me feel like I was actually playing the sport that it was meant to portray.
Yeah.
It had an interesting little thing on the NES where if you passed the ball to a black player, he would turn into a white player to distinguish him from the rest of the team, which was a little bit problematic.
Okay, that's funny though. Like in retrospect, that's just amusing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like no one saw that being problematic in the game design process.
But then like you'd do a dunk, and it would be like this like 8-bit animated Shaq doing the dunk. So I think all of the players in NBA Jam were just kind of race fluid for the most part. Also, I thought that the LA Lakers mascot was a tube of toothpaste because that's what he looked like in the 8-bit NBA Jam game. He looked like a big blue tube of toothpaste.
Isn't NBA Jam also the one where the corner three was literally unstoppable due to software glitch?
It was.
It would never miss if this is a certain player.
It was very exploitable. I should just say there were definitely ways that you could win every game.
As Peter Griffin would say, corner three.
Yeah,
corner three.
Yeah. No, that was a fun little sports game for sure. Then we both really liked Star Fox. That was an honorable mention for both of us.
Star Fox was just gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
it was really a shooter on rails if you're gonna come right down to it. But it was really fun. The mechanics were rock solid, and it was just pretty. Yeah. And it was hard.
Yeah.
But one of those games back in the day didn't do the fair hard so well. So when a game was hard but fair, it deserves a shout out, I feel like. And Star Fox was brutal on higher difficulties, but never unfair.
Well, and with that 3DFX chip, I don't think there was a better looking 3D console game in existence at the time that Star Fox came out. I would
completely agree with that.
There were some better looking 3D games on PC, such as my number one this week, but the fact that they got the SNES to spit out that high fidelity 3D space shooter was pretty impressive. I think the SNES does not get enough credit for its 3D capabilities because most of its games did not use them.
It was one of those one of those consoles that was more powerful than really anybody remembers it being. Yeah. But that's the fault of the catalog of games.
Yeah.
And not the actual hardware in the machine.
Because people were still making mostly 2D side-scrolling games,
or top-down.
Right.
Secret of Mana. Which is my number 5.
We also had Mortal Kombat 2 as an honorable mention, but it's an honorable mention because it's one of the most forgettable Mortal Kombat games.
It is. It improved the look of things.
Yeah.
But its fighter roster was imbalanced. Its difficulty curve in the single-player stuff kind of went through the roof.
And it's like Mortal Kombat 1 was groundbreaking, and Mortal Kombat 3 was a masterpiece. So where does that leave Mortal Kombat 2? It's just kind of like,
Yeah, bridge
it was Mortal Kombat 2. Yeah.
I played it. I played it years later, and it's in a console release, and found it utterly forgettable.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the weakest, but it was still a good game. So honorable mention. But yeah, you're number 5.
Secret of Mana.
This was not on my list because I still have never played it.
It's great. Yeah. It's a one of the things that you just couldn't really find in RPGs outside of like Zelda was real-time combat that was challenging and engaging, and Secret of Mana arguably did that just as well, if not better, than the Legend of Zelda games. Didn't have like the gadgets that Link brought to the table, but the swordsmanship and the stuff you could do was pretty cool. And it had, I'll say, a bit of a strange, convoluted story, but one that definitely began extremely strongly. Yeah. It has one of the more powerful openings in RPG history, in my opinion.
Okay.
And it just drew me right in. And one of the reasons it ranks so high to me is not only is it rock solid because of the gameplay and, had a decent, if winding story, is I can't remember, honestly, the first RPG that I played that sucked me in to the point where I was cheating bedtime and continuing to truck through it. But I think Secret of Mana might have been it.
Yeah.
Where once I started playing it, I had to see the end. And I'll be blunt, pretty much only Atlas, Persona RPGs, and BioWare RPGs do that to me these days. So I get really fond memories of games that sucked me in like that. And the next game to do it is Chrono Trigger after Secret of Mana.
Oh man, what year is that? That's going to be a competitive year.
Yeah, I don't know that anything will depose Chrono, but
I want to actually see when did Chrono Trigger come out. I'm sure it's on my list. I just don't remember.
95, right?
Oh, it was 95. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a super fucking competitive year.
95 was...
Holy shit.
95 was a golden year. It was both the end and the beginning of an era, and it came out swinging.
Yeah, definitely. Right on.
Yeah, but that's Secret of Mana. I think my memories of the game might be a little bit better than the game, but the game is still solid. It's still cool. It's still worth the playthrough, all that.
Well, since we already brought up Master of Orion... since it was your honorable mention, it's actually my number 4, and then we'll talk about my number 5, which is also your number 3. Yep. So we're going in a weird order here. Yeah. Since we each had similar games in very different spots this year or this week. Master of Orion, I think, started the space 4X genre that's kind of seen a huge renaissance lately.
It really
with,
did.
Endless Space and Stellaris and...
It really did, though.
Galactic Civilizations. It was the first time, I think, that you ever had, your civilization going out and colonizing different stars and fighting other alien empires. And it's another one of those games where the sequel's a lot better, but I think that leads people to forget how good the first one was, because it was still really good.
It's the Master of Orion series almost became... It was a silver bullet for its time, but I think it's held the genre back in a lot of ways.
It has.
Since.
It has.
Especially Masters of Orion 2. So it's interesting trying to put these games in a historical context for me, and especially on like a greatest games list. Because it's like, think of a space RTS that this game didn't put squarely in its shadow.
That's the thing, is like Master of Orion 1 and 2 were so good that all of this recent wave of like Space 4X revival is like, we just want to make a better version of Master of Orion, to the point that they actually did a remake of Master of Orion that I criticized heavily in my review because it was basically old Master of Orion with new graphics. Like, they didn't really try any new ideas or anything.
And I don't know that the game has necessarily aged that well. So it's definitely interesting.
Right. Yeah.
But for what it was...
Yeah,
it was a game changer. It
was fantastic, and it expanded, I think, the boundaries of strategy games beyond. It took some of the basic ideas of civilization and took them out to the wider context.
And this game, it was really important. It was really a seminal entry.
Yeah, definitely.
And pretty awesome.
Definitely. Absolutely.
The next game we're going to address is my number 3 and your number 5. Mm-hmm. We're going to address Myst.
Man.
This game was probably right up there with, one other game in this list. Mm-hmm. Oh man, how do you call out a more significant game changer for the genre? Like, this game. This is an epoch piece. This is a mark on the timeline. This is a page in the gaming history books.
Myst it's one of the most memorable adventure games of the 90s for me, because I honestly was just very creeped out by it, like in an enjoyable way. Like the fact that you're on this island, you don't really know what's going on
or why you're there.
There's no one else there, and like you're kind of wandering around trying to figure out, like trying to find clues, trying to figure out what this place is, why you're the only person. Like
I maintain
what happened to everybody
else. The
most
sincerely creepy trope done well is the deserted locale.
Yeah, I mean,
waking up in a deserted city, like, and movies like 28 Days Later.
I was going to bring up the same thing in comparison to this game. Yeah,
the empty city, when done well and executed well, I can't think of it. I don't know that I'd put it under the horror label, but under the creepy label.
Well, and it's like
sinister.
It's like
off-putting.
Sinister is the perfect word for it. It's like if 28 Days Later, like if he had never run into any zombies, like he just woke up and London was empty, and
it almost would have been a scarier movie.
I agree, and I loved that. You know, there you start to unravel this extremely rich lore that was created for the game, and you're spurred on by this sort of sense of unease to be like,
what happened?
I want to find out more. I want to find out what this place is, you know?
What happened? What happened to these people whose notes I'm reading?
Yeah.
What happened to this place, and why am I here?
And it was really astoundingly good looking.
I mean, it was gorgeous.
Again, a theme of 1993 is, you know, for the time, a lot of the games coming out this year were just astoundingly good looking.
And you can see the impact and the love misengendered when you just go back to the critical reception it received. You know, when I do these lists, I do a little research. I spend 5 or 6 minutes a game just going down the rabbit hole a little bit on it, and the critical reception to Myst was rapturous. Like it was. I can scarcely recall seeing Ocarina of Time, Final Fantasy VII, Grand Theft Auto 5. I think those are the only 3 games I can put in that tier in terms of holy cow, the reception to this was that positive.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a 10 out of 10, but y'all, let's be real, it's an 11 out of 10. Like, everybody was saying that.
I think it's still the highest rated game to ever be released for the Macintosh. If I remember correctly, like Macworld's like review archive, it's still the highest rated game. I want to say, I mean, it was just
and for a game that was basically just text, puzzles, and atmosphere.
Yeah,
like wow.
Yeah, no, I think Myst kind of mastered atmospheric adventure games, you know, and I don't really know that a lot of people have replicated that feeling since. Like, I want to say Siberia maybe is a recent game that followed in the same tradition, but there aren't a lot of imitators that have come anywhere close to it.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Yeah. So since
let's tackle our mutual number 2.
Right, that's where I was going to go next. Yeah.
We both agree. Our number 2 was a unanimous pick.
Yep.
The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening.
Oh yeah. I would say,
and this game was a strong contender for number 1 for me.
I would say this is possibly, along with Majora's Mask, which is interesting because they both have some parallels that I've noticed when contemplating them. But along with Majora's Mask, possibly the most underrated Zelda game of all time.
I would agree. I would say that those 2 games didn't get mentioned enough. And now Majora's Mask gets love as the best Zelda ever.
That's true. Yeah,
I don't agree with it. I'll just say that up front. But Majora's Mask was very good. Don't get me wrong.
It's gotten a lot more praise in retrospect.
Yes, but Link's Awakening is not.
Yeah, and I think it deserves it because it's one of the best 2D Zelda games easily.
I would even argue that it's richer than A Link to the Past. Like, there's more going on. The world's a little bit more unique.
Yeah.
It took that. At its core, every Zelda game is a grand fetch quest. Like, at its core, like, find the things to do the things. That is, no Zelda plot has really deviated from that, even from what I've read Breath of the Wild. Like, that's just kind of essentially what those games are built around.
Yeah.
But at the very least, Link's Awakening made it interesting. You're looking for instruments to get into a giant egg to wake up a wind. It was just like, it was so out there that it drew me in.
And it felt, kind of more focused than Link's Awakening, I want to say. Like, Link's Awakening
certainly was a little more direct and a little less meandering.
Link's Awakening had, like, emerged from that cocoon of, like, Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2, where those games were not fully formed yet. And then Link's Awakening, or Link to the Past, was, like, the first fully formed Zelda game as we know it, and then Link's Awakening just kind of tightened up the dials. Is how it felt to me. Like the series knew what it was, and it was honing in on just making that tighter and more coherent, basically.
Yes, and it had its own powerful opening.
Yeah,
like A Link to the Past. The uncle dying and whatnot. I loved the minor opening sequence of Link shipwrecking. I was immediately drawn in. It was like, oh, he's lost at sea, he's washing up on an island. Like that's a compelling setup to this day. In fact, one of the best movies of all time, Tom Hanks's Castaway, is essentially that plot. A dude shipwrecks, wakes up on an island, exists there with a volleyball and finds his way home. And there was enough there to craft what should have won Best Picture that year, Runaway, but that's another podcast. It's a compelling plot setup.
Well, and I felt like the puzzles got a lot better between Link to the Past and Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening was downright hard, dude.
Deviously clever puzzles.
Yeah, it was downright hard. And it wasn't the combat that made it hard. It wasn't the bosses that made it hard. It was the puzzles in the dungeons that made it hard.
Yeah, there were enemies and there were puzzles that weren't just like apply item you found in this dungeon repeatedly and succeed. Like, there were actually ones that required you to think a little bit more laterally, which A Link to the Past wasn't as
adept at. Let's
cerebral
be real.
in that way.
Yeah, wasn't as adept at. Let's be real.
Yeah, just bosses where you just like walk into the room and die and be like, all right, I guess I gotta try that again.
Yes. Well, and I got my shit handed to me in a sling a few times in Link's Awakening. Like, what is even happening? I would say that, Link's Awakening DX was one of my first intimate relationships with game facts and a game.
Oh, yeah.
I will fully admit that I leaned on game facts hard.
Yeah.
To get through this title. To the woes of my mother and her printer and
oh my gosh.
Printer ink.
Yes. Oh man. You kids these days don't remember having to print out
because of the damn, because it was damn dial-up
ASCII strategy guides from game facts.
Because it was goddamn dial-up. It's
and
like, I want to be on the guide so I can play my game and look through the guide. But if Dad needs to make a phone call to one of his buds, it's gone, dude. It's gone. And so it's like, and okay, we'll print one of those.
And like 14 of those pages would be, they tried to like draw out the dungeon using underlines and like slashes.
Poorly. They would try to do that poorly.
And so you'd be trying to figure out, okay, where the fuck am I? Am I next to the period or is this the semicolon room?
Yep. I have no idea. This is a terrible map. An admirable effort, but a terrible result.
Oh, man. No, and then we would make, like, binders. Like, we would make, like, our own strategy guides where we, like, buy a binder and, like, color in on the front and, like, put
we had an illicit playground trade going on, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, we were the guys that's like, hey, man, how do I beat this stage on Vector, man? It's like, homie, I got you covered.
I got you.
And we would do it for free, so there was nothing illicit about it. Like, there was no trading going on. We were just the guys you came to see. We were the game dudes. We were the game bros. I remember when we would literally memorize the Prima Legend of Zelda guide because everybody wanted help on just a disparate number of dungeons in that game, and we had the hookups.
Yeah. Man, the other thing is I think it was one of the first really deep Game Boy games. Like, this is a long time before before Pokemon came out, and
yes,
you're talking about usually before this, you get out your Game Boy to play like Tetris or something, and then you put it away. And this was like a Game Boy game where you're begging your parents to run to the store and buy more batteries because you're seriously playing this like for 4-6 hours at a time.
My dad despised my Game Boy.
Yeah.
Because he's just it was a double A or triple A. I forget which one.
I think the original blocky black and white Game Boy was double A's, and then Game Boy Color took triple A's. Yeah.
And it was a cannibal, and he just hated it. He was like, he would buy the Costco like 64 battery packs because he's like, this should last a year. Like a 64 pack of triple and double A batteries should last a year in most households. Hell, in the modern household, I think if we went and got a 64 pack of double A's and a 64 pack of triple A's, that'd last us a decade at this point. Because and my dad would always be like, in 3 months, I'd be like, I need triple A batteries. He'd be like, what the fuck? Well, he would get viscerally frustrated, and I was always like, why? Just batteries. And then I grew older when, the Xbox 360 controller required batteries and whatnot. I was like, oh yeah, these are expensive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now everything has its own battery and can be recharged, which would have been considered sorcery to us in 1993.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We would have been like, are you a wizard?
Yeah. But then the other thing is, because this was a handheld game, we would actually like lay across from each other, like propped up on our elbows, and like play the same game at the same time. And like, did you figure out how to beat this puzzle yet?
Which was fun.
Because normally, like,
that was a blast.
Yeah, with Link to the Past, it's like you're on the SNES and it's one player, so you're either taking turns or you're just watching the other person play
and being the color commentator to use sports.
But yeah,
that's gotta hurt.
Link's Awakening, I remember, is one of the first games where we could just like literally sit in the same room and play the same game and discuss it, which was pretty awesome.
Our siblings all be like, oh my gosh, that looks interesting, that looks fun, and they'd hang around for like 10 minutes and be like, what is the allure of this activity?
Yes. You're staring over my shoulder at like a 2.5-inch screen, and
crazy.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so Star Wars X-Wing.
Yes.
My number 4, your number 1.
This is very much in the theme of what we're also going to discuss with your number 1, which is my number 3, but taking a really great formula and, much like Link's Awakening, tightening up the screws. This Star Wars X-Wing took the Wing Commander model and just made it better. And it was Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yes.
You cannot say enough about why that made it awesome.
Let me frame this for you. There is not a point in my life where I do not that I can remember, like from the point where I was actually forming memories that I still have today, I knew that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father. Star Wars has been such a foundational pillar of my media universe from as far back as I can remember.
Same. I think by the time I might have been the first movie I saw on VHS.
By the time, we watched those VHS tapes so much that by the time I could talk, I was already quoting Star Wars. Like, it doesn't get much more fundamental than Star Wars.
It didn't. Both of our parents were huge fans of it.
Yeah.
Like, my mother and father aren't nerds, but they love the original 3 Star Wars. They love them.
I don't even know what age I was when they first showed me Star Wars, but I don't remember a time when Star Wars did not exist in my brain. And X-Wing was like, it was fulfilling every fantasy you had of just being like a freaking Rebel Alliance starfighter pilot. It was so freaking cool.
Goddamn X-Wing. And it's just like, all right, let's go fight some TIE fighters.
And you're flying around in 3D, and again, an era in gaming where 3D was not that common.
No, at all.
Flying around 3D Star Destroyers and shit, like, it was such an excellent game. It was.
Yeah, and it did a great job. The story's underrated.
Oh yeah,
X-Wing and TIE Fighter told underrated stories.
They had good stories. All of the Star Wars licensed games in this era
put you into the shoes of like an ace pilot for the Galactic Rebellion. It was so cool.
Yeah, no, X-Wing. When I was trying to rank my top 3 for this year, it really came down to what was like the most memorable and like personally impactful game for me, and that's definitely X-Wing. Like I was astounded by how cool X-Wing was when it came out.
It was a game changer, a total game changer, and one of those where every sequel to it was delightful, in my opinion. Like,
I think that at the time that it came out, there had never been a game that took something you loved, like Star Wars, and made you a part of it
that well.
Just so completely and so immersively. Like, you really felt like you were in the movies, flying around with
using the Force
PC joystick. And like, it was so freaking cool.
So cool.
I love there are later entries in this series that I like more, but I still love the original X-Wing. It has a very, very special place for my.
I mean, other games did it. X-Wing 2, Rogue Squadron, Rebel Assault.
Rebel Assault, there's an underrated game right there.
I don't know that any one of them was as magical as X-Wing, though.
Well, Rebel Assault tried to be several different things. Like, it tried to be a space combat game, and then also there were parts where you were, like, on the ground shooting stormtroopers, and I think the fact that they kind of diluted what the game was
didn't serve it very well.
Yeah, like, it kind of felt like moving through different shooting galleries a little bit, but still a very underrated game. Still one of the hardest games.
Yes.
The fucking Millennium Falcon level.
Yeah, not good.
In Rebel Assault. That is like, if we ever have to...
That's a gaming holy grail for me. That's right up there with the goddamn jet bikes and Battletoads.
If I had to create my own version of hell that was just video game levels that are a giant pain in the ass, the Millennium Falcon level from Rebel Assault would be in there somewhere. Like,
mainly because the Millennium Falcon has a fat ass, making it fly through a condensed.
Yeah, baby got back. Like, I know why Lando was hesitant to give that thing up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
His homeboy tried to warn him, but those thrusters she got.
Yeah, I mean, damn.
Make him so impressed at the thrust to weight ratio that allowed the Kessel Run in very few parsecs to be a feasible activity.
Yes, indeed. You got that round, that ratio.
I know, that disc-like surface.
Yes. Yep.
We need a minute. We need a minute. Yep. No, man, great game. God.
Yep.
Can't say enough positive things about it. We spent a lot of time in front of the computer on X-Wing and TIE Fighter.
Oh yeah. So my number 3, your number 1.
I think the most obvious pick for 93. Really, everyone should already know what this is, even if they don't have the article right in front of them. It's Doom, y'all.
Doom.
It's Software remaking the shooter and laying the cornerstone of what would soon become a colossus that sits astride gaming in an absolutely unstoppable perch. The shooter is video games, folks, and there's no use arguing it because it is at this point.
And let's also say, since we're having this discussion in 2017, a series that is still alive and still really good to this day.
The 2016 iteration of Doom was fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
it really was.
How many series can really boast that?
It'd have been one of my top 3 games of the year for that. It would have been one of my top 3 games of the year for that year had I played it during that year. I ended up playing it so much later as a GameFly rental.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the original Doom was just as good.
Well, it took, Wolfenstein, which was on our list last week, that was, again, kind of an embryonic example of this 3D first-person shooter. And it, the level...
What didn't it improve?
The level
Come
design...
up with something.
The level design in the original Doom was astoundingly good for the time it came out.
The game was creepy.
Yeah.
It was creepy, it was scary, but at the same time, you never felt anything other than powerful.
The part where you first get the shotgun and you walk into that room and you walk on the pillar, you grab the shotgun and all the lights go out and you're surrounded.
With your new shotgun.
It was almost like we were being trolled by the guys at id, who at this point were these punk rock Pirates of Silicon Valley type game developers. Like, you look at pictures of John Romero from 1993, and he looks like the guy that you might have to call the school administrators about. But yeah, I mean, the enemies were great, the weapons were great. I still think the super shotgun in the original Doom is one of the best guns in any first-person shooter ever.
Fun to use.
The enemies were like so diverse. They had a difficulty curve where
the descent into hell in the original story, like leaving the base and going literally into hell.
It was
holy crap! It was
like
the atmosphere, Batman.
It was like Dante's Inferno in video game form. Like,
but
things
darker,
got more and more fucked up.
Rivers of blood and demons and walls with faces on them.
You start out in like this Martian facility where everything's kind of like techie and like old school sci-fi. But then, like, by the time you got to the point where you fight the Barons of Hell, which were like the first serious boss in the game, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like,
this is going up about a million notches.
I'm less than halfway through the game, and this is what I've got now. But
it was a long game. Yeah. Wolfenstein 3D can be finished in a single sitting if you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You sit down to it.
Yeah.
Like, Doom was long.
Yeah.
It was vast, almost.
Well, and it had a really great difficulty curve to it because, if you're getting your ass kicked by imps, you're not going to get very far. By the time you figure out how to deal with imps, they progress you on, and then you're dealing with pinky demons, and then eventually you're dealing with, like, cacodemons, and, like, they had a very good sense of, like, slowly upping
Hell
the
Knights.
ante in terms
until you get to the Hell Knight.
Yeah, of enemy difficulty.
And I love that the very opening battle can be your downfall.
Yeah.
Coming out against those imps with your pistol.
Yeah.
I know so many new game players who are just like, okay, stand still, shoot the imp, and they get mowed down.
Yeah.
The first 60 seconds of the game, it's like, no, you have to shoot the imp and move.
Yeah.
If you can do that, not a tough battle. But I watched so many new players, and myself, my cousin actually told me what to do. Like, you can't just sit there and take what they're throwing back at you. They hit harder than you do when all you've got is the pistol. And that blew my mind. It was like, oh man, I'm in danger.
Yeah.
And until you get the shotgun and the machine gun, you really are in danger.
Well, and it also introduced, hidden areas with, like, the chainsaw was like a hidden weapon that, like, when you figured out how to get that, you felt like a badass. It had all these pickups and power-ups that would inspire, later shooters, like pickups and power-ups. That's pretty standard now. Doom
my god. And then finally 2016 Doom brought him back and did so masterfully.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And I mean, one of the more iconic, some of the more iconic weapons in gaming, the BFG, man,
the BFG
plasma rifle, the super shotgun.
Like, none of them were overpowered. Like, the BFG did a shitload of damage, but that thing moved so slow.
And good luck finding ammo for it.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't something that you could just go around spamming.
I mean, it should tell you how iconic the BFG is that you can go on YouTube right now and watch Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson firing one of those things.
Yes, fire the BFG.
In the terrible live-action Doom movie.
Oh, God, that movie was an abomination. But that's neither here nor there.
Right, yeah.
And, they never lost sight. Like, everything was so groundbreaking. The Cyber Demon, man. Like, one of the hardest boss fights ever.
Yeah.
Like, ever.
Yeah.
He hits so hard and can take so much damage and is so aggressive. You can't stay away from him. You can't take cover from him. He's after you. He's on you.
It's definitely a game that in the later levels it gets fuck you hard. Like, they were seriously like, fuck you, we made the game hard. Like, if you can beat it, that's great. If not,
have fun playing it, because it's still a blast.
Have fun, yeah. I don't think I actually beat the original Doom until, like,
I beat it with the aid of the cheats that my cousin had memorized.
That's true. Yeah.
I didn't beat Doom unassisted until I was a teenager.
I still remember all of the cheats for the original Doom, which is another
well, he used to, I mean, let it never be said that my cousin was an unintelligent man. We were so desperate for the cheats. He would not tell them to us. and if we wanted them, he'd have to come over and input them for us.
Yeah.
And he used to bribe me for those. like, hey man, you wanna fold my laundry? I'll come put God mode on. And that little capitalist prick, it was good. I mean, good for him. Like, I did it. I never thought, if I watch what he's doing, then I know that. And eventually, after I grew up a little bit, I learned that I can just watch and memorize what he's doing, and he was a good sport about it when I was finally like, I don't need you for these anymore. But oh man, he milked that for every drop he could, and the little capitalist.
Yeah, man.
No, and they've done a great job ever since. Doom 2 and 3 were great.
I think Doom 3 is way better than most people give it credit for, actually. Yeah.
I don't understand how it gets the bad rap it does.
I don't know that it will necessarily be on my top 5 for that year, but I actually really liked Doom 3.
Doom 64 was good.
Yeah.
Like, it's the game that people kind of forgot happened.
It's kind of the lost chapter of Doom, because it wasn't... Like, a lot of those N64 PC ports were just remakes of previous games, but Doom 64 was like its own game.
Yeah, and good looking.
Its own story and like its own modes and stuff. Yeah.
And Doom 3, a polarizing game, but we both really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, I thought it was an excellent action horror game, which, I mean, for all the good things that can be said about the 2016 Doom, it's not a horror game. It's
not
an
at all.
game.
It was all about empowering you to kick.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a tremendous amount of ass.
But I thought Doom 3 captured some of the horror that was present in the original Doom.
Oh, horror was obviously one of the genres it embraced. Yeah, obviously,
definitely.
And just every Doom has been great, and Doom changed the shooter, and the shooter is the financial pinnacle of the video game industry. Mm-hmm. It's the nexus. It is the nucleus of the video game profit index. Like, you can't...
I mean, we don't have Battlefield 1 without Doom. We don't have Arma 3 without Doom.
We don't have anything without Doom.
We don't have Overwatch without Doom.
Doom leveled it up. Yeah. Doom put what is now the most popular genre in gaming on the map. And it etched itself into our cultural lexicon with how controversial it was.
Yeah, it was like Mortal Kombat. It was like one of those...
the bullshit idiocy you hear from like really, really conservative parenting groups who are like, video games are ruining our children. And I'm sorry, I know we try not to get polarizing and opinionated on this podcast. I don't think anyone
listening to this would disagree with you.
That is one of the goddamn stupidest things on the face of the planet. Thank God the Supreme Court bitch slapped those people right back down where they belong. But this is kind of where that started. Like, we really,
when we get to like the late 90s, early 2000s, we need to have an honorary category for biggest piece of work, just so we can award it to Jack Thompson. Throwback to the days when he was trying to get video games censored
and banned in some cases.
Yeah,
like banned. Like, I still think it's disgusting that we ban books and censor books.
Yeah,
and we came close as close can get.
I don't
to having games like Doom banned.
I don't think there's any way that you can miss the point of George Orwell's 1984 more than banning George Orwell's 1984. But
that is an opinion that I will trumpet loudly.
Oh yeah,
people who are like, video games need to be censored and banned to protect our children. Go fuck yourselves. Like, censorship is bad. I won't go into it further than that. But you want to talk about the game that ignited that firestorm? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, the shitstorm that Doom unleashed upon the gaming landscape, and that these irreverent sons of bitches it id brought down on the nascent industry was titanic in scope. I don't believe in... we're big First Amendment folks in this house, and this company.
Yeah.
Like, we might as well just say that on the heels of that shit kicking. There are very few issues that the Loresworn Order feels more strongly about than the video game industry and the literary industry and the creative industry being able to do the things it wants to do and tell the stories it wants to do. Now, we're not absolutists. Like, there are things you can say that cross lines. Yeah. But to attack the creative freedom of an entire industry is just beyond the pale to me. It's just beyond the pale. Yeah. And I'll never stop wondering, as a theater major and a guy who studied a lot of theater history, the office of the censor in England. How much drama, how much great literature did they suppress that we will never see because they had a burr on their ass about it? I don't know, and I'll always wonder. And that's my soapbox.
There you go.
And
fair enough.
I think I agree with you. I don't think anyone listening is going to really disagree with me.
No.
And if you do, you're welcome to. I don't think less of you as a person for it, but I think you're wrong, and I'll say so very loudly and publicly.
Yeah, fair enough.
And at least you are not fraudulently, salaciously, and frivolously attacking somebody using the legal system or the U.S. postal system or any number of other vehicles for free speech available to you because they don't agree with you. Anyone who can disagree with another person politely will always have my respect.
Oh, yeah.
Because we see people who don't agree with other people politely and the lengths to which they resort, and it's just sad.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
Yep. Having a different opinion does not make someone a bad person.
No, in fact,
the moral of the day.
It makes them a critical thinker.
Yeah.
Capable of reviewing evidence and coming to a different conclusion.
Just like Casey comes to the conclusion that she needs to be ridiculous about just about 24 hours a day.
Yep. So that's our soapbox.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of it. Doom brings that out in people, though.
It does.
In 1993, it brought that out of people in a hurricane.
You want to know what's hilarious? The first time I played the shareware demo version of Doom is because it was available for download on the AOL Kids channel.
All right, maybe Thompson had a point.
Maybe that was not the best thing ever, but...
maybe Thompson had a point, huh?
Well, that's why we got the ASRB. That's why everyone should always pay attention to your kids' video game habits and help them select the games that are best for them.
And make sure that they don't consume content that they are not ready for and that is not age appropriate.
Because that's not the government's job. That's your job.
This has been a PSA from. This has been a PSA from the Loresworn Order.
Wait, I have to change one note. The more you know. There, it's not.
Did you mean to go full sting there? The more you know.
You never go full sting.
Never go full sting.
Anyway,
he's a personal hero of mine, but you never go full sting. One of these days I'm gonna go full sting though. I'm gonna literally live life with no shame or apologies whatsoever, and it's gonna be glorious.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make a lot of records, and some of them will be great, and some of them will not be, and it will be glorious.
Well, it's better to make a lot of records and have some of them to be great and others to be terrible than to never make any records at all.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect time to announce Dylan sings the hits.
Oh, man.
Fun. We're expecting to be in the top 10 in iTunes in the genre.
Is that going to come out around the same time as your Hank Hill hip hop album?
Oh, DM Dangerous has a lot of albums in the pipeline.
In the pipeline,
He's got some rap projects. He's got some satire projects. He's got a holiday album. Keep an eye out for my take on Christmas jingles.
Nice.
You've never heard Silver Bells until you've heard it off key with someone being sung by a person with a cigar in their mouth. You've never been there. It's glorious, and I cannot wait to film one of those infomercials where they just scroll a million freaking songs and play the ones highlighted in yellow. It's
you see
he'll
kids
sing the hits and listen to his stirring rendition of timely Christmas classics.
You see kids, there used to be this thing called a television, and there were these things on it called commercials. Before Netflix.
And Call to Order, where you would buy massive selections of CDs for 3 easy payments of $19.95.
So people would buy up the rights to a whole bunch of songs wholesale, and then they would
make these massive
profit margin on it by charging you like $45 to buy not only the good songs that you wanted, but also a bunch of other shitty songs that they had the rights to and needed to find a way to make money off of.
Such as covers that should have never been made. Songs that should have never been made. Jefferson Starship.
Yeah. And then when iTunes came out, you would rip the 6 songs off of the 3 CD collection that you actually listened to on
playlist
there. And then
wonder how
iTunes started selling them individually, and you're like, well, fuck, I'm not going to order a 45-song 3-disc set anymore.
99 cents a song. I'm gonna go at this the right way. And then you wondered, how could it ever go back to the way it was? And some people used a program called Napster, and some of those people got into a lot of freaking trouble. Kids, like more trouble than they will ever dig out of in their adult lives.
Metallica got really butthurt about it, and their public face never really recovered.
No, it really didn't. It really didn't. It didn't help that they didn't like target one of the numerous like working professionals using that program. But that, like, I'm pretty sure one of the guys they sued the bejesus out of was like some 18-year-old kid in his parents' basement.
Exactly.
And that was not a good look for them.
No.
Never is. That's what to be honest, it's my favorite part of Talk Shop, where it's like we go through the games and it's like, here's a slice of what we remember history around this year being like.
Oh yeah.
And granted, in '93, I don't have a lot of memories. I remember a treehouse at my babysitter's house.
Yeah.
I remember her rather large dog that scared me very much. And I remember the kiddie pool. It was plastic and had like hippie tie-dye flowers on it.
Yeah.
And I
think everyone had that same kiddie pool.
I think so. Yeah. And that was my shit, man.
Oh yeah.
It's like, water from the garden hose, ice cold, tastes like metal. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the American dream, man. That's a slice of the millennial childhood.
Absolutely.
Right there. When did the millennial childhood end? Like 2005? Like, is that when we go to the next generation?
I don't actually know when the upper boundary for millennial is.
I just kind of can't. It blows my mind regularly that there are kids today, like entering high school, who not only have never seen some of the stuff that was commonplace in my childhood, but have literally no conception that it ever existed.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to, I did a lot of tutoring up in Loveland when we lived up there. And I was talking to one of my students. He was 16 years old. And, we were talking during a study break about, this student was big into theater like I was. And he was doing Beauty and the Beast. And I'm like, man, I'll never forget seeing, spooling up Beauty and the Beast on the old, like, VCR. And he goes, what's that?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God! Like we're here. I'm old. Like, do I have gray hairs? Am I gonna start feeling the weather in my knees? Like when is this happening?
When we were kids, vinyl was already kind of vintage. Like 8-tracks were outdated crap, and cassettes were kind of the thing, and then CDs became the thing, and now it's like.
Betamax.
CDs.
You remember Betamax?
I don't think we ever had a Betamax, actually. Maybe my parents did before I was
remember
born.
that it existed.
But now it's like, CDs are fucking vintage. Like, you have to go into, like, the same type of store where you would buy vinyl to buy CDs.
To buy records.
Yeah.
Like albums. Legit albums in physical
everybody
form.
Just downloads them on the computer. Like, it's
and
weird,
then and not even like... Even the iPod has become a relic. Now it's your phone. It's your iPhone. It's your phone. It's
seriously, like an iPod was a big fucking deal, and nobody owns one anymore.
My dad merged
with the phone. Yeah,
my dad stood in line for an iPod, the first generation, first iPod. He stood in line for it. I was with him, and I'd never seen that kind of behavior out of my father. And I asked him why. He said, "Because this is friggin' sorcery." Like he said it in those words.
Yeah,
it's like I have no idea how this works, but goddamn, it's cool.
No, I used to.
It blew his mind.
This is more 2000s than 90s, but I used to walk around because they were two separate things. I used to wear cargo shorts and be like, one pocket's my wallet, one pocket's my phone, my flip phone.
Your Nokia,
and then I had a separate pocket for my iPod, which was a third device that I had to carry with me.
And that's not even a thing anymore.
No, it's all in the phone.
We're moving so fast, y'all. At least there's still room for nostalgia over drinks. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's one of the reasons I like this.
Oh yeah,
a little political backlash, a little nostalgia over drinks. You can tell we get a little louder and more opinionated when we've had a few, and there's nothing wrong with that.
If you're a younger person listening to this show, just know that when you get into your mid and late 20s, you are gonna want to drink and yell about shit that was around when you were a kid that doesn't exist anymore.
It is important to do so responsibly.
Yes.
And to never, ever, ever enjoy substances like alcohol and get behind the wheel.
Yes. Or whatever the fuck you use to steer a car because 10 years from now.
I mean, for all I know, there will be no wheels. The cars will drive them fucking selves.
And you can get as
a robot
shit-faced
with
as you
Elon
want.
Musk's face gives you a back rub as you drive down the highway. And exactly, you go ahead, bud. Just power it down.
As long as you're not operating it,
Yeah, just avoid heavy machinery and enjoy your freaking Back to the Future nonsense.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be those crotchety old men on the street corner like, back in my day, advertisements didn't customize themselves to your name.
I think that speaking of Back to the Future, I think that you guys right now aren't ready for this show, but your kids are gonna love it. That's Talk Shop. I think that's the upshot. Yeah.
You're not, someone's over there right now going, hey, that forward-thinking, deep analysis diving podcast you've been looking for? Listen to this. And then that's how we got involved in our first copyright infringement suit.
Anyway,
that's the funniest part of that joke in that movie. You're calling Chuck Berry a plagiarizer who Marty McFly could have absolutely annihilated in the court of law.
Yeah,
a funny joke, but when you unpack it, a little bit more devious, a little bit more sinister.
Yeah, there's layers. There's layers.
Chuck Berry didn't need Marty McFly to come up with Johnny Be Good.
No,
he just needed a guitar, a way to keep time, and whatever he was on when he wrote it. That's all he needed.
That's how rock and roll used to be. Controlled substances
in a constructive environment.
Exactly.
And then sometimes not in a constructive environment, leading to spectacular self-destruction. That's how it worked.
And now it's switched around where you got a guy like Skrillex where he's not on anything, but you have to be on something to enjoy him.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's flipped around back on the audience now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Things where the entire song is just whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
Art has come a long way.
It has.
It's come a long way.
So
this has been Old Man Yell at Clouds.
Yes. we've got the best games Olympics standings for this week.
Absolutely.
So the PC has finally overtaken the NES, where it's probably going to in the best platform category. It's probably going to stay just because of its sheer longevity.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything that competes with it in terms of there were good games coming out for it in 1990, and there's still good games coming out for it in 2017.
If we adopt my way of scoring it, there are going to be masterpieces from consoles.
Yes.
That will definitely make it interesting. I think
that the 2 and 3 spots are going to be what's really interesting to watch, because that's honestly what is the best console that had a limited life cycle is what I'm interested in finding out.
I think it's going to be the PS2.
I think PS2 is a very strong contender. I think N64, although it had a much shorter lifestyle, is a strong contender.
That's the thing about N64. It's going to have a lot of number 1 and number 2 games, but it just wasn't around that long.
And then basically the Xbox 360 PS3 era is going to have a lot of really big hits
games.
As well.
Absolutely. We still haven't decided what scoring method we're using, but we've got time.
Yeah. Game Boy rocketing up from nowhere to take
will continue.
Oh yeah,
there's some good Game Boy games left.
We're years from Pokemon.
We are combining the Game Boys. Otherwise, we feel like it dilutes the console beyond fairness. You can't say we're not going to say the Game Boy Color was different, even though it was. We're not going to say the DS was different, even though it was. Game Boy is going to be Game Boy. because
I would argue DS is definitely a different system. But
I could support
Game
that.
Boy,
But
Game Boy Color
should be. We should include those in one go. We'll add a slash.
Yeah,
I think at that point.
Then I kind of would divide it up. Yeah, it's from like the Game Boy era, and then the GBA era, and then the DS era are kind of the three phases of Game Boy.
I would agree.
More or less.
The one I care most about is more. I don't think that
Game Boy Color should not be a separate category. I definitely agree.
We'll add a slash.
Yeah. Anyway, best developer, Nintendo still commanding lead. LucasArts is still in number 2. Square has actually jumped up thanks to Secret of Mana to number 3. And id made a big jump from number 6 to number 4 with Doom.
Oh yeah.
The rest is not a lot has changed. Nation Wars, it's still 1, 2, 3 Japan, US, UK, but US has actually pulled ahead of Japan on my personal list.
And it's breathing down Japan's neck on the combined list.
I don't think it's going to stay there for a lot of weeks in a row because honestly, 93 was a really weak year for Japanese game developers. The US almost swept it except for Link's Awakening and Secret of Mana. And Japan comes back with a vengeance for the mid-late 90s.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
1998.
98, yeah, definitely. But I think it's going to be a lot more competitive in East versus West going forward for sure. They might switch places on the list a couple times. And we're getting towards the point, I think it's more in the 2000s where we start to see other nations becoming serious contenders. Yeah, even if it's just a battle for the bronze, that's going to be an interesting competition to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that about does it.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe to all our social media outlets.
Yeah. Loresworn.com, at Loresworn Order on Twitter. I'm at AsaTJ, that's ASATJ. DM is at DM Schmeier.
Yeah.
And
absolutely, guys, watch our videos. After Dark is quickly wrapping up.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7's coming. We're friggin' psyched for that one. And Starkaiser's really
Starkaiser has finally gotten to a point where there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. So,
and I think we're barreling towards the end game, and I think the end game is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, definitely.
We're also we got some other stuff in the pipe that's going to be fun, so keep a lookout for that.
Yep.
As always, Project X is still in the fire. We still hope that we're going to be able to announce it by the end of the year. So follow Talk Shop, follow our check-ins, and you guys might be the first to hear about something pretty awesome.
Oh yeah. Yep. We'll see you guys next time.